Mammonocracy, the government of money, by money, for money. Hello, my name is Christopher Wearne, and I am the author of the book Mammonocracy, the government of money, by money, for money. It is not a complicated book, and this video is an even simpler explanation. I recommend buying the book, but I would say that, wouldn't I? Actually, I'm more bothered to spread the central messages. This is a book about a stranglehold of management through politics, law and finance. I refer to it as wealth control. The book explains how we got here, how it works, why it doesn't work very well, and why the outlook is probably worse again. So, first question. What is there to grumble about? Well, it depends. Let's make a distinction. Look, those who control our economy, managers and those who deal in politics, finance and law, appear to be doing very well, thank you. Big salaries, share options, bonuses. And those who contribute the most, makers, doers, teachers, creators, carers, appear to be under pressure. They are wealth generation. They're more likely to mention the minimum wage, unemployment, erosion of benefits, need for 2 jobs, and competition from those born outside the country. So, what is there to grumble about? If you are in wealth control, not so much to grumble about. And if you are in wealth generation, there is a great deal to grumble about. The twin tracks are part of the same economy. So, how did we get here? Okay, this abbreviates 30 years of history into a couple of minutes, but start with the 70s, power and coal strikes and the winter of discontent. The nation being held to ransom by miners, power workers and bin men. And in 1979, Mrs. Thatcher attacked the issue head-on, with wide public support and a weak opposition. 3 things. She treated money the same way as any other commodity. By restricting supply, the cost, interest, went up, and the influence of the commodity owners, the rich, was greatly increased. Next, her government altered our laws to control the power of the labour movement. And finally, then, politics. She altered the landscape by seeing off the miners with their strike, her big stick, and incentivizing others with the profits of privatizations, the carrot. Now, be fair. Much good as well as bad resulted. Big bang, loads of money. The boom of the late 80s. Then the nation got fed up with Thatcher. And what did we get? A greyer version, John Major. And then the 97 election. A Labour government. But things did not change as much as you might think, did they? And now, here we are, a society of inequalities, and looking at a vicious recession. Now, take a look, section by section, at that society. First, we look at a new ruling class, wealth control. This is about cash, finance, property, assets, business, everything that represents wealth or can generate wealth. And note how closely the 3 pillars, politics, law, finance, interact. The House of Lords, Cash for Laws, is just the current example. Next, this is also a book about a new middle class, who have gradually appeared to serve and protect the ruling class. Above them, wealth control, who make the rules. Below, wealth generation, who have to work by the rules. In the middle, we have what I call, this is fun, the 3 Bs. Bureaucracy, and bean counters, and bullshit. Legal, admin, IT, the guys who devise targets, the accounts department, the geeks who set up call management systems, auditors, analysts, media execs, press officers, etc., etc. And finally, what is left? Finally, aha, a working class. Yes, but radically redefined. Wealth generation. Manufacturing, engineering, farming, the forces, doctors, musicians, teaching, the creatives, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers and the rest. Now, see, to a great extent, they are in the competitive market with each other, with others worldwide. Wealth control govern the market, the new middle class organise it for them, and the rest, wealth generation, have to compete to operate. Is that it? Hey, come on. We've forgotten about the dependents. Nearly out of sight and out of mind. But they're only the most populous group of the lot. The young, many of whom think that no one cares. The unemployed, more and more of them. The old, they don't make a fuss. Dependents have least money, so least influence. They're served last and served the slowest. Now, having introduced a new class system, let's look at how management control the way the money goes round. Two principles operate. Less money out, more money in. That sounds good, doesn't it? Or is it? Let's have a look. Let's start with less money out. The great competitive market. But how much of less money out is just externalization of costs, i.e. shove it out of sight somewhere else, a saving in the narrowest sense? Examples. Contracting out, eroding staff benefits, fortnightly waste collection, reduced service, deferring to next year to meet a budget, importing labour and skills, politically dangerous and transferring large costs to local authorities, contracting out to distant subcontractors, perhaps using Chinese sweatshops, and putting it off by taking out a mortgage and calling it PFI. And is it any nicer when we look at more money in? Our management seem to say yes to most income opportunities. Be nice to Saudis who buy arms and don't investigate BAE. Welcome to rich Russians. Don't mention polonium. Deregulated markets, gearing and miles of funny money sloshing around the city. Hedge funds that can break a bank. Selling assets and businesses, the family silver, abroad. Is this good for Britain in the long term? Of course not. It's obvious now. So, less money out from the management, more money into the management. Suits who? Mainly the management, I think. And that is how there is so much money at the top of that pyramid. So there, we have a new class system. The Mammonocracy pyramid. What does it represent? It is the government of money, by money, for money. It is summed up in one simple diagram. Remember it. So, that is the explanation. In the second video, I explain the second half of the book, which explains how some of the problems the country faces now and explains the bigger ones we face in the future. Britain remains a relatively prosperous country, and the point of the book is to suggest where there is need for adjustment of our management. We don't need a revolution, but it is important that if you agree with the analysis, you spread the message. Of course, for the full account, go to Amazon.com and order the book. And if you or organisation want a presentation in person, send an email to chris@mammonocracy.com. And now, before anything else, go out and do something randomly kind. Thank you for watching.